Sanibonani Makadini, and welcome to my story right here on Destiny TV. And today in the studio we have a very unexpected guest, because I know you're used to seeing her right here in this chair, but today she's actually the guest. My Musha Magadi. I'm very good. How does it feel to be sitting there?
Well, it's always easy when you're the one kuti chimbondudzeo zvakafamba sei. But now uri ori kubvunzwa kuti chitiudza kuti zvakafamba sei.
Mashoko amungada kutaura.
Aiwa mashoko aripo.
Anditi. How are you, my Musha?
I'm okay.
You're good?
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to start by saying happy birthday.
Thank you.
Do you mind telling the viewers how old you are today?
I'm not old. I'm 46 years young.
You've heard it. She's not old. She's just 46 years.
Ndachengetwa. Looking back, I have had young sisters passing on. I've had nieces, vana vadiki. I've had classmates. I've had vanhu vemuraini vamunoti ninguva takakura naye ashaika. So being 46, I'm proud to say ndachengetwa. Mwari vandichengeta.
Amen. And because we are here, because it's her birthday, and we've decided to give you a very special episode so that we talk to her to find out her journey, where she came from, how she got to be where she is, and for her just to give us an insight of how it is being who she is, because we know that she's a very key player right here on Destiny TV, and I know she's done so many stories and so many programs. You've seen her on different platforms. So let's get to find out who my Musha is, where she grew up, and what her life was like. So my Musha, tell us, where did you grow up?
Ini ndakakurira kumufakos. Nokuti kumfombi.
Please actually state the actual location. We want to know, because I think there's something you're living out there.
Ndakakurira kumufakose kuna mukumbadzedza kunonzi magandanga. Nguva yandakakura inini takumateenager ikoko ndonguva yainetsa mutown pa, you know, when you go kuna corner speak nachinoi night club iri papo ichapisa ndonguva yandaenda kutopindawo muteenagehood. Saka ya ndakakura munguva yekuti waitonzi vasikana vemufakose vanonetsa, but well,
I right there, I want to ask you, like, what kept you to have the character that you had? Because you've just stated that what was it that you had in your head that was telling you that, you know what, in as much as the people that I'm growing up with are doing ABCD, I choose to be different? What gave you that distinction from the others?
I think I can credit this to my mother. Vakatiendesa kuchechi yepostori. So kuchechi yepostori maiti pamunosvika, muchisvika muda kutanga chechi munonzi bvumai tirurame kuna baba. Saka ndofanira kunge uchibvuma zvese zvawatadza, and then ipapo panenge pachinzi pamagedhi panenge paine maprofita, and then every musangano wataiendeswa kurwise. Girls times wakurwise. Looking back now, I can say nezvine girl ndinglikini vanhu vari kutaura nyaya yeabuse, vanhu vari kutaura nyaya yekuti rights. You could say maybe our rights were infringed, but I think that kept us in check, because you're saying, hey, ndikazoenda kurwizi ndikafoira ndonyadzisa mai vangu. So to some extent that kind of kept me in line. Kuti ndidi kuzonyadziswa ndaenda, because wainzi ukabatwa unzi une zvawaitwa wakumurwa gemenzi unzi hauri pfeke, and then hausi kugara pane vasikana, unofoenda kunogariswa kwako wega. Saka that only, I think maybe it's fear. I could say maybe it's fear, but at the same time, at the end you start saying, okay, I don't want to do this, I would rather live like this.
So tell me, Musha, because right now we are living in a society where people are valuing mental health, and it is, as much as we know that mental health is good, and there are, you know, stages that are, there's so many things that are being put forward for people to safeguard their mental health, especially for the younger generation. But then you're telling me this, like you used to go kunogezeswa kurwizi and all that. And of course, someone can come up and say, you know what, that's abuse. But what's your comment with today's society, today's children, on how they are being raised and how this issue of mental health is affecting the parenting way which can actually protect the girl child?
I have one girl, by the way. If you ask me, I wouldn't want her to have a privacy invaded like that. Yes, like I'm saying, that it kept me in check. But I think there are many ways you can do that. Kumunhu, because kachiri kuenda kurwizi wasanogezeswa kuenda kunotariswa kuti waita musikanzwa here. So we are saying kuti maenda kumusangano waApril watariswa, maenda kumusangano wemadzimai watariswa, waenda kumusangano waOctober watariswa. To me, apana privacy papo. But I would like to believe kuti one word for the wise is enough. Ukangodzidzisa mwana, and also like teaching them from the scriptures, because like I'm saying kuti inini ndaitya, but even though it used to happen, but vasikana vaitopiwa pamiri tuchienda kuchechi ikoko. So it's not just like kuti nekuti kunotariswa kuti munhu keep yourself safe because achati nichatariswa. So I think education from an early stage, to just teach someone to say, you know what, you are special. Because you are special, don't give what is special to someone who doesn't deserve it. And when we say someone who doesn't deserve it, give it out in marriage, because that person who have put the ring deserves you, deserves your body. So I think it's just teaching them. They say we teach the correct principles and we let them govern themselves. So I think teaching will go a long way.
All right. So now you've mentioned the church aspect. Is there anything else that you told yourself that kept you in check? I don't know if it's, a mantra that you were walking by, maybe your teachers, maybe the other teachings that you were getting. Is there anything else that made you be so principled as you were?
Maybe I will go back to how I also grew up in our family. I was born in a family of 9, 7 girls and 2 boys. And vakuru vese taive vasikana. I am the third born. So when I was born, right now I'm sure vanhu vandakakura navo kuno mukumbadzidze vamwe vatombonti kwaiwezera kuti Stella rakabva kupi. When I was born, I was named Ndaiswei. And then and then my aunt
very unique.
Well, now I don't mind it, but growing up it was like a curse, because people would like really mock you with your name. And then my aunt named me Mudzivanji, but it's almost like the same. Ndaisvei and Mudzivanji. Mudzivanji is Chewa for Unosivei.
Okay.
And that was my aunt's name. So for some time I stayed with my mother, and then my aunt took me. I could say maybe from my aunt, that's where I kind of learned my Chewa, because she wasn't fluent in Shona, so she would speak Chewa. So there was a time when I go back kuna mama ndikunzi Ndaisvei, when I'm with my aunt ndikunzi Mudzivanji. Saka there was a time when I got Ndaisvei, and I was like, sindine Mudzivanji, sindine Ndaisvei, ndine Mudzivanji. And then my father, the story is when I was born, I think I was some days old. My father went to work, and vaishanda kwaJuliet. Saka vakanzi toda kuisa medical aid yesimas. So for once tipe names evana. So my elder sister Mavis, and then Butte, and then the youngest achangobva kuzvarwa, he tried to crack his head. Zita now Buddha. And then he just said Stella. So he came back home and he was like, Maimevi, mwana anonzani koyo? Zvikanzi, anonzi Ndaisvei. Zvikanzi, kubva zvinezvika, even kumabhethi, akutononyoreswa Stella, because ndo zita ratase rakuzikanwa kubasa. And it was also kind of confusing, because ndakura kumba kwandiri kunzi Ndai, kwandiri kunzi Mudzivanji. I start school. Kumba I've never been called Stella. I start school, and saka class teacher akatoti Stella and Ndairi, because
you were not familiar with the name.
So zvakazoenda nekujaira kuti okay, sakuti kana ndiri kuchikoro ndonzi Stella, but kumba ndonzi Ndai. To the extent yekuti you'd come to school ukandi utsvaga Ndai haundiwani, ukaendawo kumaraini ukatsvaga Stella ungosingamuwani. Saka I grew up with like 2 distinct names, Stella kuchikoro and ndaisiwe ikumba.
It must have been a struggle, but you survived eventually. You just managed to make way out of it.
The true names, do you know sometimes children in their innocence can be cruel? The true names, vanhu vaibva vati ngatitaurei mazita tichibva kwaanoperera. Saka ndai zvavanzi inda, so people watanga kuti inda. And then kuchikoro Stella yayo watanga kuti Stella masambano vava. But just that, like children in their innocence can be so cruel. And then things were okay with my father because he was working quite White. Saka every year, Christmas, taitengerwa hembe dzedu zeChristmas, taitowana hembe tutu actually. Baba wangu aitengesa hembe. Saka taiwana hembe Christmas, towana hembe New Year. Things were okay. And pamba pedu, someone even mentioned kuti pamba penyu paitange pa bus stop because ana auntie vangu vaigara kumaprazi. Saka kwakusina ma-secondary schools. Saka wese apedza chikoro aiyamba kwedu. Saka I grew up mumba makawanda vanhu. Ndichinopedza grade 7. Ndakunopedza grade 7 yangu. My father lost his job. And kuchikoro I was doing very well. I was doing very, very well. And kumaraini kwandaigara kumfakose, the school mazwayo yaidiwa nevanhu vese was mfakose 2. And the second one was mfakose 1. Then the third was like mfakose 3 and then mfakose 4. But there was also a community school yainzi mfakose murimwe. Yainge yakavakwa nemapuranga nemajurawo. Saka baba vangu valuza basa in grade 7. Ndichinotanga form 1 zvinhu zvakaoma. We are still living takawanda pamba. People we still need to eat. Nekuti vana anti vangu vese vaitoenda kuchikoro.
Rafi manga muri vangani papa?
I think vana tete vangu they were like 7. And then kwaive nana mainini vangu 2. And then there were uncles who would come and go. Zvekuti muspare medu matairara. Kumfakose akanga makohouse ayaive nebedroom there pane yainzi spare. I don't know why they were called spare because it was like a bedroom apana spare. Maive musina mbeda kana wardrobe, but I remember taitora takati vamwakaisa musoro
muchigumana
tatakawanda like that, and then vakomana varume vairara padining. Saka ndichinopedza grade 7 baba vangu vaburitswa basa, and my father used to drink. And up to now, what I know is I don't think he had any savings. Saka kungopera wakaita basa, and whatever he was given pazvakapera ndopakangopererawo, like the luxury andakakura ndinayo yekuti taiziva kuti kuseni unodya usati waenda kuchikoro. That time we never used to take my lunch box kuenda kuchikoro because taibhadharwa kuchikoro saka taipiwa mukaka nemabanzi kuchikoro. Grade 7 yapera. Now I want to go to form 1. My sisters angu akangaenda pamfakose 2. Saka that was the school I wanted to go. And I passed with flying colors. And then found out bonzi upenda umurini.
Sekutara kwamunosiita mai Muusha. Kuti zvakambokubata sei? Imi muchiti ndoda kuenda uku. Mwanzaewa, iwo kufanira kuenda kuchikoro uku zvakakubata sei?
It wasn't just about kuti ndarambidzwa kuchikoro kwandada kuenda. I think the issue about I was going to the worst school.
Oh, it was the worst
at that
school.
time. Because yaitoimbwa nzi Torondo Creshe vakuru, Torondo Creshe yechembere, because kwaiendwa even nevanhu vakanga vaine vana. Because it was like a community school, vazhinji vaisaendako, so vaikumba zvese.
Mukumba dzedzi.
Saka it was the worst nightmare. To the extent yekuti ndainyara kufamba like mustreet. Saka ndaitoenda kuTorondo kune munjanji. Ndonobudira ndakusvika kuchikoro, ndasvika kuchikoro.
Of which you had very good grades.
I had. And I also remember kuti grade 7 taito imba chikoro ichocho tichiti mwanangu enda chikoro. Vakakuramba kuhai1 unoenda kuhai2, vakakuramba kuhai2 katasvika pahai4, and then vanzi vakakuramba kuhai4 unoenda Torondo airambe vanhu. So just imagine kuti ndaimboimba vamwe, and now
that was your reality.
Have you ever gone to a school yekuti iwe you are saying I'm going to learn. Wonosvika muchikoro chekuti havarambe anything. Saka une the best units but uri muclass nevanhu vane the worst units. To the extent yekuti waiti no matter what you do hauna kuverenga waita say you are like the highest. That was kind of course I met vamwe vakanga variwo okay, but we were like a handful because it was chikoro chaiendwa nemunhu ashaya kwese. High 2 was the cream, high 1 was the cream. Vaitora vakapasa vacho. Saka vese vanenge varambwa vese vaivoenda kupi kuToronto. So it was a nightmare. But because of that, I remember you asked me, what made you make this decision to say, no, this is what I want? Look at me now. I'm going to the West school. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I will make it. So, yeah, Form 1. I remember coming from primary, my English was good. Because we even now with my former classmates, we always say we had an English teacher. My Nyabako was brilliant. By the way, grade 1, I was taught na Mbuya Nyabako. And then when I went to grade 7, and she was like an English teacher. And she instilled reading culture in us. You know, we would read novels. The Three Musketeers, we would read The Hardy Boys, and Nancy Drew. We read them. Yeah, we read them to primary.
Because Nancy Drew was really nice. It was really nice. It had very good novels.
So because when you read, you improve English. So when I went to Toronto, Murimwe, my English was good. Saka, I'm used to saying, okay, when you're at school, it's English. So, but I just say to myself, okay, I need to change my life. Because like I'm saying, it was so drastic change. You know, I remember when my father was going to work, vaiti pavanotambira vaienda vanotenga 50 kg mazuva ayo yaideliverwa nemabhasikoro.
Okay.
Saka vaitenga 50 kg yehovho. Hovho watenga sugar 12.5. Yave 12 kasaga kaeka 12.5. Hovho watenga chibhaa chemajarini. And then vaiti pavanobva mumbare, because like kuenda kwaJuli vaiti vaifura nemumbare, vaiuya like veggies and saka we knew kuti our life was set when it comes to food. But after no one was working,
things changed.
Real change. Wekuti munosvika kumba pamwe hapana chekuti mudye masikati wabva kuchikoro. Or we ended up kutongoziva kuti kana ndichienda kuchikoro, I wake up ndogeza ndoenda kuchikoro.
Ko ava vamaisiti vaimbouya.
We still have them because they are going to school ka. Avachausiyiwa chikoro chavo panzira because kuti vadzokere like maprazi yave kuwedza. Kuti vadzokere ikoko it's hard. Saka yes, anatete here and there, they would chip in because vanatu kugara navo, but it's not the same. Kuti food yakanga iripo baba vachishanda hapasina. I remember kuti aitombobika nemashanga. I don't know kana wakambobika sadza nemashanga. Hariibvi because you need like a heap kuti
mashanga kuti
panyeswe rizo. I remember this other guy agara pa next one. Aitochengetwawo guy ainzi Namu. Umwe musi akazoti achitodengorera nepafenzi zvikanzi pamba pamuchadyanana. Mukatanga kudya kadiki kacho. Now when I look back at it, I can laugh at it, but it was painful. I remember we were staying also na tete. Umwe musi tete wakati vachi kuna mai vangu, munororonidzika nei? Unozoti mapopo muriwo ero. Mapopo egreen ayabva menywa ngemapotatoes abva abikwa.
Anotodyika.
Aishata. But ndozviripo. And then I'm not magaka enyoka. Kumalawi vanoati kasongo. Zveyellow zvazvo.
Kasongo.
Zvekuti vanondanza chidyiwe. Okay, not kasongo amuri kunzwa ari kuimbwa zvinezvi.
Because when you said kasongo, the first thing that I thought about was the song, kasongo the song. Okay.
Ndezveyellow zvetange zvine minzwa but hazvibayi. So you take that, wobisa modzi dzese dziri mukati because dzinovava. Wobisa modzi dziri mukati and then you dry them. Saka zvainaka kana zvaiswa peanut butter. But kana zvisina peanut butter zvaishata. we did that. We ate that.
Musati ininika honestly speaking ndikutodzidza izvezvi kuti anodyiwa because nguva dzese pandaimaona magaka enyoka I've always thought they're poisonous. Honestly speaking,
No, they're not.
I honestly thought they were poisonous.
They are not. Utori muriwo.
Yeah, tinodzidza zvakawanda.
So and then form 1 ndapedza form 1 and then my school uniform, I can't say it was second hand. I don't think it was even third hand. I don't know tenge yapfekwa nevanhu vangani. Saka pandakaitengeserwa within some weeks yakabva yabvaruka. And yakabvaruka papa. I remember this other time ndichibva kuchikoro because kuti ndizobuda nekunjanji ndaifanira nobudira pahigh 1 ndo ndanopinda pamajurawo ndoenda kuni. Saka ndaitobva kuti ndiende nzira ndaishandisa. And this girl anga agara aitengesa, she pointed at my uniform. Zvaitonongedza kuti naimigondai marengenya akapfekwayo, and she laughed. And I remember ndichiti inini, I'm going to change my life. I'm not going to have mwana achapfeka uniform siyandapfeka inini. So that also shaped me to say, okay, I'm not going to be like the other girls. I'm going to work hard. To me, I just saw school as the only ticket of getting out of poverty. And ndakurarama that time. And ndandisina kujaira ndiri ku primary. Ndakuiwana ndakura. So my mother started vending. Vakatanga vachitengesa musika, takamboita musika pa speed. And then taiti tikabva kuchikoro. Umwe nomwe aitakura dishi rake kuenda nokutengesa. Saka inini I chose kunotengesera kuFaison. Because kuFaison kwaive ne primary school yandaiziva kuti andina wekuchikoro wandakadzidza naye achandiona ndichitengesa. Saka ndaitosvika ndosvikopuwa dishi rangu rine masau, rine muriwo, rine madomasi. Ndapfura nepamaswiti, pane painzi pamaswiti, so ndapfura nepamaswiti ndichitengesa. Ndo ndaenda muFaison. kuFaison ndo kuZFC kwai kunogadzirwa fertilizer. Ndonotengesa ikoko, and then you come back home. And after some time wakatanga kutengesa matumbu ehuku. And then she also started selling means dzekwamutasa, dzaitengwa kwamutasa uko. And then she also did nyama as well, like waitenga musoro, tsemurwa. Totanga say, you know, in all this, like people are saying, okay, my mother is doing something. What about my father? Baba wangu, to me, my father ran away from kumapratsi kwandikutara kwaigara natete wangu, because ndo kwaigara kuti maparents avo, when he was 13, turning 14. Ovho wasvika ovho wagara muFaison mavaichengetwa nevamwe mbuya vakanga varimo. Saka muFaison mune golf course. Saka vakatanga kuita kedi vachipushira vanhu zvingoro zvegolf. Saka mwana waJulie White is one of the people wavaipushira, ndiye akavawanisa basa kupi kuJulie White. So my father was not employed like kuti vaive neexperience yakawanda. Saka vakanga vasina like a trade yavakadzidza, but vakasvikako, and this son waJulie White loved him. He was like his friend. So zvotakatozvika pakupromotwa kuti wasupervisor, but basa rakazopera. Saka that is the only thing he knew. Saka basa rapera, we actually even saw changes in him. Frustration yekuti andichaenda kubasa. Saka even baba vataiziva vataiseka navo and she changed. Saka my mother stepped up. So, you know, I remember this time when ndaitofamba namai tichitengesa matumbu. Saka matumbu aiyerwa mukapu. Saka takasvika pane vakadzi vakanga vakagara tukuyera matumbu, and they were discussing kuti varikuenda kutsvaka basa. So my mother vakanga vaine problem yemusoro. Vaitemwa nemusoro usingaite, because I remember even there was a time takati vakatomboenda for some time vatombotorwa nagogo because vaine problem yemusoro. Saka and I'm like, toda kuenda navo mama, because now ndainge ndiri kunopedza kunyora form 2. Saka I was going to have those 3 months dzekuti ndakagara. Why I wanted to go is because fees yangu yakanga yakunetsa. Fees yangu yakanga yakunetsa, saka ndaidzinga kuchikoro. Dzingogara 2 weeks kumba, and then you go back unodzingwa zvidaro. But okay, before these women vari kutaura nyaya yekuenda kubasa, holiday yaAugust yeform 2, kuchechi kwandaenda kwaina vamwe wainzi mai magodi, and that time hamene kwavaida kuenda, so she wanted a maid. Saka holiday form 2 ndakagara namai magodi. That enabled me to pay my fees the third term. Saka now,
mega fees.
Yes, because I remember I think I was given about $60 pandakashanda ikoko kwamai magodi. I think ndakatotenga ne like bag ne something zvekuchikoro pamari yandandapiwa mbva ndabhadhara fees yangu ye3rd term. Saka now vakadzi vakudzidzisa zvekuti vadonotsvaga basa, and I'm like, okay, next year I'm going to be in form 3. Saka ndikashanda now, it's going to be zvinotozondibatsira kuti form 3 yangu ndine ndiine fees. Saka they agreed kuenda neni. Saka mene kunonzi Komani Estate kumazowe. You know, if you ask me ndofamba seka, I don't know, because what would happen is taipinda muno mutown, tobva tapinda mumotikari yakavharika inenge ichingwa yai. Saka yaizongovhurwa 1. Saka unenge uchiona kwamuri kubva. Saka I went there. I was employed.
Just like that.
Basa. Saka vaipeka peas ne-green beans the-export. Saka ndokwandakadzidza inonzi TNT, meaning kuti top and tail. Saka dzinenge dzichifamba paconveyor belt, iwe unenge uchingodembura kumusoro nekuzasi. Saka unenge uchisarudza dzakanaka, then wodzidembura uchiisa mumatrays.
Okay.
So holiday form 2 I worked in Komani Estate. And I remember this other time ndakatozotsvagawo vamwe kuenda navo kubasa ikoko, because like our neighbor vainzi maika, ndakatozoenda navo. She's late now. Umwe musi zvekuti tatisina watch, taingoziva tofanira kumuka, because kumba taifanira kubva kumba kuma5 kuti tibate transport ya6 mutown. I don't know what happened. Ndakangomuka and I'm like, ndanonoka kaini. Mva ndangogeza, mva ndaenda vana kuti maika ende itanonoka. She didn't check time. I don't know kana mboma mai time. Vatangobuda. I don't know where the bus was coming from usiku iwowo, because we got into a bus. Tikupinda mutown. Tikona panzvimbo yati hapana kana munhu aripo. Kubvunza tukunzgonzi it's 4 o'clock. Saka takatozorara pane umwe guard kusvika kuma6 makazouya vanhu. And it's cold. Vataenda saka form 2 ndokwandakashanda kuKomani Estate, and then I paid fees yangu ye1st term.
Okay.
Ndaidzingwa futi, but like now I have tried looking for him pa Facebook, this teacher anonzi Mr. Masikinyi. I remember this other time I stayed home for about 3 weeks, and then fandazoona munhu akauya nema-receipts. He had paid for me.
Your teacher?
My teacher had paid for me.
Wow.
And then I went back to school. And then one of my teachers, I did teacher English literature, they got married, my teachers. They said teacher same school, and the wife was expecting. Saka, now ndaenda umba kwavo ndichinowacha weekend. And zvakandibatsira kupaya futi imwe fees. Then I remember this other time we went ku school trip yakaitwa pa Eurosec. So I was with my late sister Joyce, and then takakwira padenga paipe pane that thing chinoita light chiri pa Eurosec, chihombe chacho chachia. Saka ndaenda papo I saw pane mashizha akawanda, pane tsvina. And there was this soldier angaripo, ndikati nai who cleans this place? Zvikanzi vanhu vanoclean, sometimes it goes for some time pasina kucleanwa, but it should be cleaned. Ndikati okay, so where can I go and ask if I can come and clean and get paid for cleaning this place? And said kunotonisa to go kuma offices nema-offices for you to be able kuti unbvumidzwe kuita se kuuya panapa aungouya nje. And he gave me a paper yavanga vakanyora where I could go. And this was like 3rd term.
How old were you then?
I was 15 turning 16.
Okay.
Yeah, 15 turning 16. No, I had just turned 16 in September. So avandipa paper there, and I actually have a photo of me muswanda kasumka kumba chunama yangu ndikunotsvaga basa mutown. I remember ndakagara pasi ndakatotorwa photo ndine like hembe yave zhuzhete green, so ndakagara and I took the paper, I went into town, maoffices andanyorerwa, And I was moved from office to office and out until I got to this other office. And they said, we are not allowed to employ my students. We only take one who college one per attachment. But what is driving you? Why do you want? And I said, because I want to pay my fees. I'm going to be writing next year, and and I remember them saying, okay, stay here. They went inside, whatever they discussed there, and then they said, okay, come start tomorrow.
Wow.
So that's where I worked. That enabled me to pay fees yangu first term. And then I had a wonderful headmistress. And my teachers used to, they would talk to her. This is the situation. And the late Mr. Mubasa helped me also so much until the Peza Form 4.
Wow.
And then I don't know what happened. Because if you ask me even now, I don't know what happened. When I wrote my O-level, I said I've nailed it. But when I went to collect my results,
it wasn't as you had actually expected.
Even my teachers were saying, what happened? So I had an A in literature.
Wow.
I had a B in English. I had a B cushion. And I had a line of D's.
In which subjects?
All the subjects I wrote.
How many were there?
I wrote 7.
Okay.
So the other 4 had D's. And this is me. To me, I saw my dream slipping away. Because remember, kumba kwedu, there's no second chance. It was iwe watopedza saka chisewo vanhu. And all this time is my mother warikuita maveji yayo, is my mother warikuita msika. But my sister, the firstborn, maybe anga to a house girl, so she would help. And pane pamwe pahelp. And remember, ndiri mu family mune vana 9. That time tesata 9 tichiri 8 because vamwe vakazozvarwa even after my father vasisashanda pakazoberekwa 2.
Okay.
Saka even mashure mangu mune vana ofutata varoda chikoro. Saka my sister, I have never seen someone making such sacrifices like my sister, to the extent that Maria vatambira yese yaiuya kumba without her removing a single thing, because she's saying imari yevana yefees.
Wow.
Vamwe vachichena, she to her, it's like she took it upon herself kuti vana vamai vangu vaende kuchikoro. She wasn't academically gifted, but she used to work very hard. And
maybe as you're talking about this, like nowadays, when akonda unoti kana munhu akashanda imari yako, you don't have to, like, hauna obligation. Like, there are so many rights now. Kuti ndakashandira ndongoti imari yangu anoshandira imari yangu. Like, what do you have to say about that kind of life?
A life where it's just about you, it's an empty life. It's an empty life, because life is not just about you. It's about family. I think my sister understood that. It's about family. So, like I'm saying, there's no second chance. Saka, I was crushed. But natsvaga basa. Ndakaona basa munachata mushop. Mushop. But that is a grocery shop. Okay. Munachata. And the owner, I colored. So I started working. And now I'm also helping. Still my mother. Before I finished the Form 4, I remember time yoyo pane zviri kunzi beam, but nguva yoyo maiti kamda kuti mwana abhadharirwe school fees munoenda ku social welfare, and it wasn't an easy process. I actually remember a day my mother took a blanket vachienda kunorara kuma offices social welfare ave kuHighfield. Okay. You can imagine you are preparing to sleep inside and your mother is taking a blanket to go kuti ukwanise kubhadharwa school fees. Wow. And you don't even know kuti zvichafamba here or hazvifambi. Dzimwe nguva mainzi not here zvino izvi, a lot of reasons. Saka I started working after crashed nenyaya yemaresults yayaya. And then I worked first year kuchechi kwakwa kupostori tichiri kuenda. That's one of the things that kept us going, you know, the faith yekuti Mwari vanotinzwa and all that. And ndashanda gore iroro taishanda tiri 2 nomwe musikana. Sometimes she has to forgive me if kana kuri kumufungira, but I think there are things she would tell Murungu kuti kana asipo oti she does this, or because I remember pane pandakambotadza kuchinja change ndakapa munhu mari yakawandisa, munhu akutobuda ndichibva ndamushidza ndikati no, let's give me back zvandakupai, and then when I counted ndikati no ndakapata sei yakawandisa, but unozonzwa zvaakubuda kumurungu. So this other day yeah, imi mukushanda muri two. So this other day murungu akangopinda fast kuti Stella buda panze unoshedzera. You see what these guys are doing? This is a grocery shop, for crying out loud. So I'm supposed to stand there. Sugar. This was my wake-up call. I remember it was like kunopera kwe gore, and I said, I need to go back to school. This is not me. I still have my dream. And by the way, pachikoro pandakaenda papasina masciences. Saka ini ndaingoti ini kandakura ndakuita lawyer. Kana kuti ndikuda kuita journalist. Ndaiona Tilda achiitisa mvenge na Brenda moyo. Mazuva emvenge. So I would say ini ndikatadza kuita lawyer ka. Ndoda kuenda pa TV. Ndoda kuzobuda pa TV. Saka I said, you know, sure ndikanzibuda panze unodedzera inini. To me, I thought she had like really humiliated me.
So, apa pamaishanda apa mushanda mushop. Maria Maiwana, what were you using it for?
Home. My mother. This is what my mother instilled in us. And now, the pambapeli parents pa girls eye, because vasikana vana tete vana vedu pachishona tinoti vana. Vakanga vakura vamwe varoorwa vamwe vapedza form 4 yacho vadzokera. Saka there was a time where takatizongosa tango the family yedu isusu tega. But still kune vana vari kuenda kuchikoro. Pada kudyiwa, still mari yensa kubhadharwa. Saka that money helped, because that time I didn't like have school. When things didn't work out well for me, I remember my teacher saying, rewrite. And chitonyora muna June nekukurumidza. But that time, saka that time, sometimes you know, uchiwana kamari kanonakidza. Kamari kashoma kanonakidza, because you are saying, okay, I can then buy my shoes, I can do this. Because tichikura, nguva baba pakanga vasisa uye nehembe dzekwa Julie White. Pane nguva yekuti hembe dzaiye zvinezvi dzatiri kuwana dzekuti dzinonzi $4. When we were growing kwakusina masitya, kwakusina mabhero. Kwaive nemasitya. Mazitya ihembe dzaibva kuSouth, dzairukirwa madhoiri. Saka my mother vairuka madhoiri. Tikadzidziswa kuruka madhoiri. Saka waitoziva kuti ndakaruka seti yangu yemusoro waQueen, ndichaigirwa hembe. Kumaraini kwedu kwene mwanzi maigwari ndo vataiwanzorukira. Saka ndokwaibva hembe ikoko. And there was a time yekuti boots dzataipfeka susaive sandaki. I remember masandaki ataitoti mabhamba taita kutoziya sandaki yakapfava neisina kupfava. Because pane dzimwe dzekuti waiti ukapfeka dzaicheka. Saka taitoziya kuti sandaki inenge yakapfava iyi. Saka time yandiri kushanda iye yekuti ndinotambira ine kakunyengera kainoita. You know, when you have a dream of becoming someone, don't be content nemari shoma yaurikuwana izvi. Because ine kakunyengera kainoita. Now you are able to buy shoes dzaungosingatengedzedzera. Ungosingapfeke masandaki, ungofika masandaki wakwasatenga. Saka for that year before she told me to go out kunodedzera, I was okay. Because ndakwanisa kutombotenga tunhu, you go home wakabata kapaper bag kuna mai. My mother instilled this thing of family in us. Because I remember even vanoti taigara takawanda, my mother vaiti hapana plate inesita. Hapana plate inesita. Saka chakaita tizotanga kupakurwa maplates ake inyaya yekuti muriwo waipera. Taimbotanga tichidya takawanda nditi, but not everyone is considered of the next person. Saka tinongwa taipedzerwa
umwaikambura imomo.
You see. Saka takataka unzi munhu plate yake. Saka yone maplates emaruva aya esimba aya. Saka maplates aiva akangofanana. Saka vaiti kana vapedza kupakura mukuru anongosumuka achinotora
kusvika kumudiki.
Yes. And I remember kuti there was a time yekuti because takawandisa futi zvinhu zviri kungopera. Saka kudhara kwaive nemafuta aive muchishell. Chaitonzi chishell. Saka waiuya nekagaba kako wotorerwa mafuta oiswa mukagaba kako. And mai vangu vakatanga kutenga sipo yainzi kalido.
Okay.
Saka waipuwa tumafuta twako nelido yako. Kana wapedzawo wapedza. But of course waitombobirwa nevamwe vako anenge apedza yako aiba yeumwe. Saka now ndanzi ndishedzere, that was like my wake up call. So I went, mari yandakazoshanda pamberi, I then registered to write, but I continued going to work. So ndakazosiya basa munana July, and I concentrated, I rewrote, and I passed. So I said, okay, I go to A level because when I'm a lawyer, I have to go to A level.
Okay.
So I went pamfakose wando by A level. They are looking at my results, they are looking at me, they are saying, wakanyora 2 years back. Tukuda otopa ku O level yesu nesh. Saka headmaster varamba, and this was the only school. Kuti ndiende out of Mfakose, it would mean transport. Saka I went back kune the headmaster wainzi Mr. Pasi that time. Saka pane pandakavaona vachiwa. In fact vakatopfura nepandiri. Zvichinzi tatononoka ku meeting. They were going to my school, my former school murimwe ku meeting. Saka vaenda meeting I followed. Saka vakangoti vachibuda vakatedzana na headmistress wangu. And I said kuna headmistress, vari kundinyima nzvimbo A level. You know, when she saw me, she actually said, Stella, you're here. And I said, vari kundinyima nzvimbo A level. And my headmistress said, Mr. Pasi. This girl was one of our best students. Call in there. She can say, is that so? Ngauye mangwana.
Wow.
That's how I got placed from Fakose 1.
Wow.
And I started doing my arts. And my sister is still working as a housemaid, Murphy, and she's the one who's sponsoring my school. I actually sometimes, you know, when you look back, you say maybe she could have had a better life if it wasn't for me, because I remember he turning down a marriage proposal. Ndaya asati apedza form 6. I'm just waiting for her to finish form 6 again, then I'll get married.
Wow.
So going to A level, it was tough, but zvanga zvaanani. And my mother's still doing music. She's doing, she would say yes, anything. Yes, nezvi maziso avanotonedza because mai vangu vakaruka kroshi. Pane yainzi draw, but pakadzinge pakuuya twine. Saka twine ndo yakavauraya maziso because vairuka neusiku.
Okay.
Saka vachiruka madhoiri, and we are still helping even kumusika yoko. A level I was still going kunotengesa kufaiswa.
Ko baba apa kubva basa parakapera because ndopege pandagumisira kunzwa nezvawo kuti pakapera basa vakatanga kunwa. What then happened to him?
He's still drinking. He's still drinking. But pafaiswa paizombobuda mabasa, but iri temporal. Saka vakamboenda kunoshandako, but I tell you, I remember, even now, I know that it was a sacrifice on his part because he was now aged. But vari kuenda kunotakura 50 kg a fertilizer. Yeah. But raishka parinopera. Saka that time, but he never stopped drinking. He never stopped drinking. So I wrote my A level, but pandakapedza form 4. That time ndakazenge ndakumboenda kubasa, I said to my mother, ndauchinja chechi. Hakuzi kuti kunyara kuti ndikuenda kupostal, but there's this thing that happens kuchipostal. Vanoti iwo tinofamba mumweya. So each time you are told, tazoona gomba, you have to pray, taona chakati chaitika. Saka that didn't sit well with me. To me, I wasn't settled. But you are always being told something is about to happen.
Bad is going to happen.
It's like you're living on the edge.
Yes.
So I remember actually going kune, I remember ndakamboenda pa church aive padhuze nepamba pedu. And then the next time I went to Seventh Day, I went to United Methodist, I went to Wisiri. I remember I went to AFM. Like I was testing Sundays. And then that teacher, wandakambowachira ndichiri kuchikoro yawe, wekumfako semurimwe. She met me and she said, you know what? Muskana wangu aenda kumusha for about a month. I could joke next month. Would you like to come and help me? Because kamonake kanga katakura kake keka katikuriri. I think Joey was around 3-4 years. Saka vaida iwo vachiri kuenda ubasa. Saka ndo pandakatanga kugara navo. And then ndiri kumba kwavo, I was introduced kuma missionaries the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I said, okay, I think I'll try this church. That's how I got baptized to that church. And saka ndatosiya apostle ndakuenda kuchurch uko. Saka now,
how was the transition though?
It's not easy because there's like a very big gap from chipostori kuenda kuchechi yauri kuenda wakapfeka gogo. Now wakwanisa kuruka musoro, kupfeka mhete, you can put on makeup because kupostori hausi kudya nguruve, haupfeke zvipfupi, no matrousers, haudye chakati, hauruke musoro. Those kind of restrictions.
White.
Oh, I actually have my photos. I think I would love to see the
pictures. How come we've never seen the pictures? I didn't wear those pictures.
They are there. They don't think all games lang. I will actually even show you this at the time. But I can't go party maskana wango wapa kuruizi. Which is my daddy side. And then we are happy and all that. Wow. To some extent, you know, I could say chiposto chakandirera. Chikandipa womb. But I think it was just time for me. Like I'm saying, at that time
you
it wasn't
the church.
Yes. Saka now this church, they send my missionaries out. Like when you are young, you can apply to become a missionary. For girls, you go for 1.5 years. For boys, you go for 2 years. So when I collected my results, my English teacher, we became like friends. I remember even intro, like I would invite him to church. I remember even when I invited him to church, I introduced him to one of the guys I was going out with. He tried to say, I want you to meet my special friend. Even when I was to A-level, I remember I introduced him to one of the guys I was going out with. So panakan trauma results hangu. And he like he's asking, okay, what do you want to do now? The results are out. But then that was send my papers to go on mission.
Okay.
So I said, I'll come and see school after mission. I'm going on mission, say. I said, that's good. Where are you going? So at that time, my call had not come. Because I will only know, can I call you? I'm say, Yawuya. So the following week, he calls me. No, I would communicate with him. And that time was not my cell phones. We would go to like Paco box.
Okay.
So sometimes we would meet like when we go at A-level. So sometimes we just call, Ningari Kupi, are we meeting? So I called him and he said, are you coming? Are you coming? I said, no, I'm not coming. He said, no, I need to see you come. And this was now 2001, that opened the A-level.
Guess what? That was the year. I think I was just like a year old then. And you're going through all this thing.
No, this is not 2001. This is 2000.
This is 2000.
This is 2000.
Okay.
So I said, okay, say I'll come. Saka ku A-level. Remember ndakazoenda ku A-level ndabogara kumba 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
So it's like ndaidzidza nevanhu vari 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
Well, just a handful bekuti waizoona kuti we are the same age.
Okay.
But vazhinji vandakadzidza navo vakanga vari like 2 years younger than me. So I remember in most of the things zvaitwa nevana, sometimes I would really like I remember pane yaitwa kuti junior counselors and all that. I felt like I couldn't fit in because I'm older.
Okay.
Saka when I finished O level I was 17. Saka 18 I was 17 turning 18. Saka 18 and 19 ndakanga ndiri kushanda. Saka ndakazoenda kuningirikini ku A level I was like 19.
Okay.
Saka I clocked 20 ndiri kuchikoro and then I clocked 21.
Okay.
Saka pampach is kind of embarrassing because ukudzidza nevana vari 19 18.
Yeah.
Saka I'm 21 ndakazopedza chikoro I'm 21. Yeah, I'm 21. So my teacher calls me, I go to school and he's asking me, you what's up now? The results are out. What do you want to do? I said, I want to go on mission. And he was like, and how is that guy? He's asking me that guy I introduced him to. I said,
Yes.
he's good. And the other one, he said, so if you go to mission, don't they want to get married? No. I'm now focusing
on me.
I'm focusing on my mission.
Okay.
So I went home. And then the next thing, my teacher then, who is now my husband, he came. He came and he was like, I've seen, okay, you sweet talked me.
Did you see it coming?
I didn't.
Like, please tell me, did you see
I
it
didn't
coming?
because this was my teacher. And
Yes.
even when I was at school, this is the teacher, is someone you look up to. And I actually remember that you would actually see him with lady teachers. And this is me in school uniform. I have seen him with ladies with high heels, with makeup.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no way I could even dream of it.
Did you actually like him to some extent? That, okay, did you have moments when you'd be like, oh yeah, he looks good? Like... As women, I think there is a time when you like look at the guy and you're like, maybe, yeah, he's unavailable, but he looks good.
I think it's natural.
Yes.
For girls, sometimes you have male teachers, but my upbringing, it was like a teacher is your father at school. So I never entertained that idea.
Okay.
To me, this was like a father figure. That's why even when I was saying, say I want you to meet my special friend, it was like, well,
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
I'm looking up to you,
see?
For fatherly advice.
And then also like with him, inviting him to church and he'd come. So when he said that,
why were you inviting him to church though?
My husband reads a lot.
Okay.
So the first time we talked about my church, I was holding this book. It's called Lord, I Would Follow Thee. Okay. So he asked for it. And then I started giving him like our church magazines. Okay. And you'd read. So we had a conference when I invited him. So it was like, say we are going to have a conference. Would you like to come and join us? And then when we had another conference, I also invited him again. Yeah. So that's how I would invite him to church.
Okay.
So, I don't know, but like I said, I think he smooth talked me, and I tell you, Mr. Muusha was like the Englishman at our school.
Yes.
At first you're saying, what is it that he has seen in me?
Yeah.
Him. Because like with Mr. Muusha, if you had to go to anyone who was at Mfako's one, they will tell you that man doesn't even know a single word of Shona.
Wow.
He was like the British teacher there. He was actually nicknamed the British teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I remember I was saying, no, I want to go on mission. And he said, no, it's okay. You can still go on mission. I'll wait for you.
Wow.
So, I took my time to say yes. But what I know is I said yes in March. 17
What
March.
made you say yes?
Well, to me, it was like, okay, besides, I'm going to leave soon. I'm going on mission. So I might as well
just say yes.
I'll say yes and see how it goes. And I'm going on mission. So I said yes in March. And my mission call came. I was supposed to go and serve in South Africa. So he said, no, it's okay. You can go. But after some time, he said, you know what? mission is good. Mission is good, but also marriage is good. And then,
you have to choose between the two M's.
And then
mission or
the
marriage.
biggest support that my husband had was, so when Mr. Muusha, when I said yes, Mr. Muusha then said, you know what, this is not like child's play. I'm too old for me to come and whistle Uchiaku Road. So I want to come home. I want to come to see your mother and your father.
Okay. He was standing on business. He was serious.
So I said, no problem. I'm living on mission anyway. And then you remember my teacher, Mr. Zambasa. So the two, so he started coming to church. And then it was like, yeah. And now he was the bishop. My teacher, he's the bishop at this at Latter Day Saints.
Okay.
So they started talking and they clicked, teacher to teacher. He taught me A-level English, and Mr. Zambasa taught me A-level, O-level English.
Okay.
So here are two English teachers. Yeah. They clicked. So I remember my bishop calling me to his office and he was saying, you know what, serving a mission for girls is a privilege. Otherwise, the commandment it's for boys. For women, it's a privilege. But the greatest blessing you can also have is for you to get married and have a family. And then my husband, when I introduced him at home, so my aunts were there, and then there was my mother is there, my father is there. So it was like kagrupu kakatoya kakatoungana papa ne mkomana wanda yari kuuya. So he went to my aunt and he said, I want to get married.
Wow.
And I said to my aunt, no, I'm going on mission. And my aunt said, Kanango chizatu kuita je mission, why did you come to introduce us to a man?
Yes.
So that time my mother was like supportive. No, go on mission. Go on mission.
And how old were you then?
I was 21.
Okay.
I just finished my A-level. This is March. I was 21. I think the only time I said, okay, I'm no longer going on the mission then, is when I lost my mother's support. All this time my mother was saying, no, I'm supporting you. God mission. It's a good thing. But when my mother said, you know what, I think you should just get married. And I also think what influenced me to get married that time, I remember my mother cried when my young sister, Joyce, eloped. My mother cried. And this was April. And then there is a guy who wants to get married. So to me it was, maybe I'll put a smile on my mother's face. So my decision to say, okay, was also influenced by that, I think.
And you're way older and you've seen a lot. Do you ever regret it, or you actually like, okay, that was the best decision I've actually ever made?
So, Tasha, don't forget that I said yes in March. This is April, someone wants to get married. And when I said yes, on the 19th of May, Nyaya came. So literally, I dated my husband for 2 months.
Woo! That's a record breaker.
It is.
Wow.
But like you said, looking back, I think it's one of the best decisions I've made.
Wow.
He is a good man.
Wow.
You know, I remember someone saying, be who you pretend to be. With him, what you see is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
For the 25 years I have stayed with him, it's one of the best decisions I made.
And this one is for the comment section. We've had so many people asking, is my Muusha married? My Muusha is happily married to Baba Tafanzwa. And they have a lot of kids. She'll tell us about that. Tell us about your kids. You haven't actually spoken about your kids. Can you please kindly tell the viewers how many kids you have? You've already mentioned that you have one girl.
So remember, I married a teacher. We have been at school who was saying, live your dream. you know,
Yes.
would push you to say, no. We want the best out of you. You know, you'd always say, if a B is the best
Yes.
and you get a C, you have failed. If you are an A student and you get a B, you have failed. So even like when I got my results, he was asking me, what are you thinking about school? What do you want to do? I'm saying, okay, I'm thinking of law, I'm thinking of going to do media because I love talking. So I hope
We can
because
testify.
I love talking.
We can testify.
So I got married and I got my first son in 2002. So, and then I started going to school when Taffy was like a year. I did interior decor with spaces.
Okay.
And when Taffy turned a year, on the day he turned a year, by the way, Taffy used to share birthday with my father. On the day Taffy turned a year, my father-in-law passed on. And I was at school. So when I came back, I packed the bag because I was going to Chimani for my father-in-law's funeral. So I was supposed to get into a bus, Kuma 5. So my husband's friend was coming to pick us, Kuma 4. The time when he came and he was knocking, I got a call from home. And I was supposed to go Kumbanshino Toranamai, Ritendo Chimani. I got a call from home. My father had been poisoned. So that time when they told me, and Taishandi Sama phone etambaya, I tried calling for an ambulance. Ambulance. Saka, I went home with my husband's friend, Anansi Jabu. Saka I just thought that we were going to see Baba and then maybe Maivano Sara and when I got there, I tell you, you have never seen panofamuna poison. I don't know what kind of poison, I guess bongo, but I saw my father turning into a skeleton. Takatarisa. We tried everything. Everything. He never threw up. He only threw up after he had passed on. We remember actually after vanga vatofugidzwa because saka takazoswera ndakumba nebhegi rera ndandatotora chindukunochemate zvara vangu. And this is my son's birthday. And you know, pandaitoenda nebhegi ndendakaisa keke ratafadzwa ndanopa baba because they shared a birthday with my son, the 20th of February. Saka usiku my father was gone. I saw my father going. And I tell you, munanoisira poison, I don't think they see them die. Because if you do see, I don't think you ever kana poison agonzo you want. My father turned into someone we didn't know. So my father passed on. And then my husband had to come from burying his father,
yes,
to come and bury mine. So Tafadzwa lost 2 grandfathers.
On one day, and that was his
birthday. It was a day apart. Like the other, my father-in-law passed on the 20th, and this is 1 March. That's when my father passed on. Saka, after Tafadzwa, I'm going to school. So the thing was, okay, when Tafadzwa turns 2, I will then go to college. Before Tafadzwa turned 2, I discovered that I was carrying my second son. And then I went on to have a third son. And when I was carrying my third son, no, actually before I carried my third son, I started on my journalism. I was going to Kosa.
Okay, you finally decided to chase your dream.
Yes, I was going to Kosa. You know, Kosa kwa kusina lift. Saka I was then expecting my third son. Kukosa hakuna lift. Kukwira masters kwataenda ku class mwe ku 50th floor. I dropped out. So I was home. I'm nursing Ropa. And then Ropati kure, I went back to school. And I'm at school. I'm expecting my 4th son. I remember again another son. I remember writing an exam on Thursday, and I gave birth on Friday.
Wow. Wow.
I remember I had this lecturer, Mr. Mkurunge. I would come to class heavily pregnant and sometimes sleep, and you'd say, just let the mother sleep. We'll wake her up. Saka, and then I remember writing my exam on a Thursday, and Friday I gave birth to Yamikani. And then that was 2010. And then my attachment, I was at ZBC.
Okay.
I was with National FM.
Okay.
Ndaishanda na Rabson Umari.
Wow.
I went there because of the background yechewa ndandinayo.
Okay.
And Umari also speaks Chewa.
Okay.
Saka ndo ndaishanda naye. And I'm at ZBC. I'm saying, okay,
I'm living
this
the
is
dream
the place
finally.
I want to be. But to some extent, I was kind of very disappointed, because to me, yes, when I was at when I was growing up, I was saying I want to be on television, but then Fandaindiswa radio. So I was saying, okay, radio is still okay. We can do radio, and I can also do television.
Yeah.
But I would like to say sometimes I don't know what happens, or maybe it's the training or something, I don't know. But going to attachment, you're saying I'm going to learn,
Yes,
and add to what I've been learning at school. But when I got there, ndakaiswa library. Saka ndaiswa library, until you remember when I pa radio,
yeah,
kwaive nema cassettes, that time kwaive nema cassettes, and even pavanenge vachiplaya zvanoita zveyo zvima big cassettes. Saka pane ravanoti bin, nekuti waisa nziyo dzake dzachazoda kuimba nechichichi. Ndiri mulibrary, ndiri kuizwa izvo zvekuti ndiri kurongera munhu achazoda kuenda paredhiyo kumuisira nziyo dzake, makaseti ake netape yake yaanenge achishandisa. And then ndiri kuswera ndichiisa like tumategi twekuti munhu auya necd rake or nemakaseti that time. Kwaive nemacds nemakaseti as well. Ukwatega kuti ndiningi uchiaisa mumashelves. And I was in library more for about 4 or 5 months. And I'm like, when will I be on radio? I thought, I'm not a librarian. So I remember also voicing that. I thought, okay, for how long am I going to be in the library? So that's when I started to be on air with Umari. And I fell in love with radio. So I'm on attachment. And I'm saying, well, okay, I'll apply here. I am living my dream. I'm at ZBC. It's going to be easier to then come back when panobudo manige kunzi pari kudiwa chakati nenda nota my interviews. I was expecting again my fifth son. So ndakazobva ku ZBC when I was expecting my son. Saka and there was no way I could apply and then go for an interview. Nedumbu rakutooneka pane dumba. So I went back home. I nursed my son, and then chati kure chikomana, I'm trying to get basa. Basa rainyedza. I remember going to every audition nikadedzerwa,
but you couldn't get anything.
I remember even going to Mtari pakaitwa Diamond FM.
Okay.
And when you are told that you are not made for this, to the extent you start doubting yourself. So I went home, but being home helped me to develop myself a lot. I remember 2008, and when I got married, remember Kumba, still hakuna mnhu arikushanda. But I am grateful to my husband. When I get married, he kind of became the son there. Wow. And he was helping out. But also vamwe vari kukura vari say Joy yanga apedza chikoro. And then what I left out is Joy eloped in April, and I got married in May. So it's like when she was expecting, I was also expecting. And I remember she would come kumba kwandaigara, like we are two sisters, we are expecting titorwa photos, we are going through the same experience.
Yes.
On the 10th of December, I remember Joyenga uya kumba akasungirwa on the 3rd. So a week after, on the 10th, I remember it was a Monday. Saka ndakaenda kuscale. Ndaenda, in fact, kuseni ndisati ndabuda kuenda kuscale. So Joy pamiri pakarwadza. And then afatoenda kuhospital. Saka I saw her. We went for visiting hour and I saw her kumai. Saka akaoperatwa. Saka Monday, indaka mama wakabva kuti no, Monday enda kupi, enda kuscale. Isusu would then tell you kuti aswera sei. Saka ndakamukira kuenda kuscale. But in the morning, pane mukadzi akauya and she was crying. Saka aitaura naamwene vangu. Ndikatobuda ndikaenda kuscale. I don't know. I don't know what made me. I was just so restless. So I remember leaving everything. Pa clinic pandaenda kuscale. Mva ndaenda kumba kweshamwari yangu. Ndichibva ndokoyo landline. And I called home. Pataifonera kumba. Ndichikatwa. So ndakazofonera mwana like my cousin. And she was crying. Saka pandakafona. She was just saying, sure, am I nini? What crying? And then that's how I knew that my young sister had passed on. So she passed on, giving birth. She didn't survive. Mwana survived. And I'm heavily pregnant as well. I tell you, it was the toughest time for my mother. It was the toughest time for my mother. And then I remember, and this was December. So I also ndakawa ndanzifuni ndende kuna mai. Tsika dzedu dzekunzi munhu anosungirwa namai vake. And I remember kuti every movement yandaita mai vangu I wonder if she ever slept that time.
She was restless.
Ndaingoti it doesn't matter what time yandaimuka. Vaiva vati chi. So paka inini pandakazopinda mulabor. I was kubains. Saka you could be with someone. So my husband left me and I was with my mother. And I remember I had the longest labor. Then we were told so I was also supposed to go for operation. You can imagine my mother had lost someone up in the operation in December. This is February. Without operation. But Mwari ndi Mwari.
Amen.
I gave birth Shakanaka and I had my son. So like I'm saying kuti I remember kuti mimba dzese dzandaiita pane pamwe pekuti ndaizongoti even when I'm going to labor I don't tell mama. Ndaizongoudza kuti mama ndane mwana. Because mai vangu vaiti kutangoudza kuti rim labor. I remember saying, I remember when I had my second son, I told you ndane mwana. So she came. On my third son, my husband vachikonisa ku hospital, she calls you, said tavaendesa. And she came. Vanenge vari panze pe labor ward. And you know, like now I really understand that vanenge vatoriwo mu labor newe. It's one of the difficult times. So ndane mwana which 5. And 2008, like I'm saying kuti ukuku zvakamboita zviri nani mukwasha ari kubatsira. And remember, I was the teacher's wife. There was a time when my teachers were okay.
That's true.
So ndaitwa naka allowance kangu, me and my son would go shopping. And then the second son came. I remember with
Tafadza.
It was. Vachidya sele vita. And then 2008 came. It was terrible. I also learned to be a working wife from home. So I started my bands. I started to become my bands. So if you come where I stay, you get into ukashaya mai musha wanungotsvaga mai bands. Even years after I started my bands, unotondiwana. So I did my bands, and then also I started learning a lot of my skills. So I do beading. Ndogadzira my bag, anything chinoitwa nema beads, I can do that. And interior deco, I do curtains. And also I can do like African clothes. There are some things working with beads. I can do that. And I also do cakes.
Yes,
so
I love those. My favorite parts. I was just saying, when is she going to get to those parts? Because I love the cakes.
So ndaingoti chero chandadzidza. And one thing about kuchechi kwandinoenda, they say okay, learn as much as you can.
Yes.
Saka even mabhanzi yayo ndendatoadzidzisirwa kuchechi. Takatoti musati adzidziswa ndikabva ndatoenda tenga 2 kg yangu. I started ne 1 pan. But after some time ndenda kutenga masaga aigara mumba.
You see, that's something I like there, because in most churches vanogona kuparidza zvakanaka kuti ucheta mari uchete sei, but then to actually impact the skills now I'm actually seeing the reason why you moved from Postory to this church, because now you are getting the actual skills. Because someone can prophesy, yes, someone can tell you this and this is going to happen into your life, right? But then kana vasina roadmap yekuti unosvika ikoko, then apana zvatiri kuita, apana zvatiri kubetsera vanhu nazvo. Plus, in as much as tichiparidza shoko handiti, it should get to a point where shoko raukuparidza it becomes practical. Okay, you can continue now.
So yeah, a lot of my skills that I have now, I learned them from church.
That's wonderful.
They see someone with my skills, they invite them, they teach us, and they emphasize so much on schooling. Even now I'm studying with BYU.
Yes.
So I started doing my bands and then my beads. Saka time yandakagarisa ndisina basa, yeah, that's what I would do. And ndaiti chero chinokwanisa kutengeseka. Saka ndakapedza ndane mazita akawanda. There was a time yandakambokwanisa kuwana mafoko. Saka pane manesi anambotengesa mafoko. Saka ku section 3 ndainzimai mafoko. Kunzimai mabands. And then there was
beads, mabands. All these names.
And then in town there was a time I had a business in town that ndaita zvemafreezes nema ice cream. Saka akapinda mujurawo. Narasi ndikapinda ndonzi koma ice cream ari kupinda ice cream. But chinazonetsa ndechekuti you're doing ice cream pamovonzi tisire yitobhadhira mangwana. By the time andakazoregera kwenda ikokoka ndendane bhuku rakadai so rezvikwerezvo vanhu vasingabhadhari. But one thing I know, Heavenly Father blesses us when he sees that you have got this you can do, he blesses you.
And the will to work as well.
In my motto, or even now when I talk to young people, because we have discovered that there are people who are good at nothing but too good for some things.
Yes.
They think there's something that is too low, it's below them to do. But in
exactly.
I believe
you can do
dollar.
Anything. You can
yes.
Do anything.
If it is straight. Because a dollar, hakuna dollar noera kanyorwa kunzi doctor. Hakuna dollar nonyorwa kunzi lawyer. Inini dollar remasau rakaita ndikwanise kudya. Because I tell you, time yakatanga mama kutengesa, there was no way yatai yekuti unodya zani mapopu imi mwine matumba kutengeswa mumba.
Ndizvozvo.
Maveji makwawana because pamuchapeka muri kutosiya madomasi nemaveji. Pachaita nguva yemango, you have your mango, panoita masau. Saka a dollar you can't say kuti ini ndikuda dollar randapfeka tie. No. There are people, a dollar is a dollar if you are doing something straight. You know, there's something also I have just remembered. Kuti, I remember that there was a time, I don't know, unozati makura.
No, I don't.
Makura, it's when people were pedza kukowa. Imimi munopinda muchi like maminda ivani makowewa.
Okay.
So there was a time yekuti takapinda ti mumunda mevani makowewa tichi. You know, like zvakaita Ruth. Pana Boaz beutaronzo chimbosirai varombo zvinhu mashure.
Okay,
saka dzimwe nguva vanhu pavanokohwa paipe vanosiya chimwe chibage. Saka takatomboenda kumakura. I remember the other time takapinda munda memakapiswa pano paive nechibage. Saka takatokonyera chibage chakatsva. But ukaenda kunochishurisa chaisava chanyonyoita black. And I also remember, I think I was in Form 2. These girls vekumaraini vakati imi kunzvimbo kwataigara, our houses were the last tichienda kunjanji.
Okay.
Saka kunjanji kwaipfuura zvigutsu. Saka magoods trains ayaya pane aitransporta chibage. Saka pavaiuya kuGMB pavanoemta mauyu chibage hachiperi chese. Saka these girls ndokwavaienda. Saka vakatoya kanzi ndaiendei kumaraini kauku. Saka ndaiendei. So I went. Saka taikwira matroko tichitsvairira chibage unotsvaira unenge uchisaga chako wotsvaira chibage. So yoti waitobvako dzimwe nguva une half bucket.
Oh, wow.
Dzimwe nguva on a good day kana bucket inonzi bucket nechibage unobva winaro. Saka musikana ainzi Joanna. Saka this girl, they didn't tell me kuti kunosungwa vanhu. Saka ivo vakaona mapurisa eNaraseta and they ran away. Saka ini ndaburuka mune rimwe troko ndakutomudedza Johanna. And then this man says, Johanna ari kunoko. Pandiri kubudikira ndikubuda pane mapurisa. So vatatotorwa chibage chatatorerwa vataiswa vanenge vane like ka sort of paunosungira vanhu zvinhu zvasungwa kwavanoendeswa kulocking valk. So the whole day ndake takaiswa mumwe rikatonyorwa masanzi matoma criminals now ndakutokuendesai kujeri, and it was scaring, I tell you. And then vaive vatiza vakusvika kumba kuna mai vavo vakuudza mai vavo kuti ndayasungwa. Saka mai ava pavakaenda kuna mai vangosvika kuti mai maybe sorry sure ndai. Saka I think my mother connecting kuti aenda kuzvigutsu. Saka she thought ndatsikwa nechigutsu because, and she was Mozambican. Saka ngoti mai maybe sorry sure ndaya. And my mother anonzi vakachema because she thought ndatsikwa aiwa usachema anodzoka kana akarara anongorara one day chete azonatidzoka kumba usiku. Saka like I'm saying, inini I believe in hard work.
Yes.
There are things I try to instill even in my children. Kuti kudya cheziya rako, it doesn't matter kuti une A level, you can still have somewhere to start with. Ini ndakatsiga mabhanzi ne A level yangu. I do my beads, I do anything. Even right now, I still have people who call me to say, "Ndikagadzirire bag, tukuda ma key holders. We want this," and it's an extra income that comes.
Yes.
And so ndagara kumba. Well, pandandiri ku ZBC, I also got the opportunity to do acting.
Okay.
Saka I was featured in this short film inonzi Murora. It was produced ku ZBC. So ndiri kumba ndisina basa, I started writing my concepts.
Okay.
And I submitted them to ZBC, and there a lot of concepts they were interested in. And then they called me, they said you can come and pitch, and they were really interested. But after some time they said, no, my concepts are kutorwa nebus. Saka after some time basi yakazotichedza kuenda kusiftesa, and we were trained as my producers. So there is also a short film I wrote and produced inonzi Chaputika. Imomo muna Mr. Katsandi vanoitisa bhora kuningirikini vanonzi Mudhara Hams in that short film. So now I have been told that I'm not very good with the mic, because kuma auditions kwese kwema TV I would go. I'm not getting any job. Saka ndakazotumwa musindiri kushow. Saka ndine zvinhu futi ndinoendesa futi zvinhu kushow.
Okay.
Kuharare agriculture show. Saka umwe musindiri kushow, I met these two guys. Vakatakura masikamera mahombe. So I approached them and I said, I have concepts, but I don't have like the equipment. I think I just need somewhere where I can produce zvinhu zvandiri kunyora. So they said, Isusuka, we are not good at this. Here's a number and give us your number. Tinonopa vanhu vekupi vekubasa. Ichatongoza kungoita se kungotora zvatiri kutora kuno kushow. So that was 2022. 2022, yes. In August. Saka in September I got a call from Destiny TV. And they asked me to come. I came and ndakavabhilivhisa wepa Destiny TV. Yes, ndikuvaratidza maconcepts angu, this one,
I can do this.
I can do this. Apo totova nemunhu asina basa amboudzwa unzi you can't. So shikanzi we are interested in your concepts, so you can come and we work with the concepts that. So the job randakabva ndapiwa ringe riri head of content, create some things for people to do. So I came. I always say to people, do you know munhu ane the latest car akaona munhu anenge achipemberera Honda Fit anoti what is that?
Of course.
Ane Honda Fit akaona munhu ari kupemberera bhara anoti what is that? But
each stage is important.
When I got keys to my office, you look at yourself and you say, is this me? patashikere panapa. But to cut the long story short,
Yes.
tapenda pauti ndine vana 5 paipe kuZBC. 5 boys. Ndakazoita musikana.
Yes.
Which is 6. And then you're saying, musikana 1 pakomana 6. Let me just give you a sister. Kwakayafita vamwe boo. So my Muusha vane vana 7. Musikana umwe chete.
Yes.
Pavakomana 6.
And she's gonna try for another girl. You never know.
At 46,
Why not? You can still do it. You said you're very young.
Well, if I do get another child, I'll name him Destiny. I'll name her Destiny because obviously it will have to be a girl because so I'll name that child Destiny.
Tia is so safe. You know, I can't help but to always think about how safe Tia is. Like, imagine to have 6 brothers.
Do you think she's safe? She's a tomboy, that one. You know, I wanted to spoil her. This is my only girl. She acts like a boy. And I tell you, I feel for the guy who married her with the Anatano 6.
Yeah, but then she's very safe in the sense that are so protected. You know, I would give anything to be like Tia right now. Like,
okay.
Yes.
So I came here and I said, okay, this is what you'll be doing. So ndirimu office and you know, you get a pen and you say, okay, now I'm sitting down, I want to think of a concept. Because already I have a book.
Interview.
Well, but I have a book full of concepts.
Yes.
This one will do. This one will do. So amongst them is twice a mother.
Yes.
The concept I had there. Because like when I said, the other concept is twice a mother, they were like, what do you mean twice a mother? And then I have to sit down and start explaining. Okay, this is, what I'm saying is, being a mother is difficult.
Yes.
Asikuva mai ibasa. Asikunozwa basa rakapetwa kana mai vava kuchengeta mwana ane hurema.
We love that statement. We do.
And then my hustle. And this one, my story. Because I'm like, you know what? Everyone has a story.
They do.
Everyone.
They do.
Everyone has a story, and I believe that everyone. Kutongonzi munhu yari kufamba is a story.
It's a story.
Kutongonzi munhu yari kufamba, it's a story. So, but before I came here, you know, there are things that happen in your life that you can never explain.
Yeah.
So my sister Mevi, she sacrificed so much for me. She passed on Satndashanda. Also, Pandino, where I'm not saying that andina chandaita mashure. I would. But you are saying Pandino nyasuita mazimarika.
I want something,
you know, for my sister. She passed on in 2013 and she left a child. She was 5 then. And when she passed on, I was expecting. This was April, and I gave birth in May. It was one of the worst things that happened to me because she got malaria. Saka kutiva, and she was expecting. Kutiva wape food dossier malaria. I think chemedza because vaichikira mwana ari mudumbu or something like that. So she had a stillbirth. And then she passed on. So we were left with a daughter, Tawana Nyash. You know, and I remember talking with my sisters and we were saying, what she had just lost is the biological mother, but now she has gained 6 mothers.
Wow.
No, I would say she had gained 5 mothers because remember Joy had passed on. We were 7 girls, so Joy had passed on, and so now my sister had passed on. 5. And I tell you, Christmas time yaitika shika. Vamwechitengera vana 1-1. Tawana would have more because each mother is saying, okay, I'm doing this for Tawana. So 2020 COVID, that time COVID, I went to visit mama because Mai was not feeling well. Saka this lady said, if you go and make this concoction, because she might even in nyongo but I Buddha. So I said, no, no Buddha, go and do this. So I went home. Ndikatosvika ndikagadzira concoction yeah, mama. Nothing is coming out. Said, regandigadzire futi imwe. So this was like around 11, and Tawana Nyasha came back from school. Anga form 2. Afatosvika Tawana Nyasha, and my young sister was there, the youngest in Pamedu. Atosvika Tawana Nyasha, and Nyasha had been making my fresh chips. Saka Tawana Nyasha akatosvika my chips aya abikwa. Afaenda kunotenga chingwa, afadzoka, and then she prepared like tea. Fatatodya. Saka ndine munhu wandida notumira mari mutown. Saka that was time yemamask. Ataenza upinde mutown usasina mask. Saka ndakatobuda pagate, Tawana Nyasha indiperekedza nemurora wangu. Fatatobuda pagate. Saka pamba pamai vangu vari kudhuze nekunjanji. Saka kunouya makombi ekubudiriro 5 current and padhuze. But budiriro inobudisa kumarket square. Inini I'm used kuburira Copacabana. So ndakatobuda and I went direction kunokurira kopi kumfakose bus stop. And Tawana Nyasha was like, mama, ukokura uko. Let's go kopi kubudiriro. And I'm like, no, inini budiriro inobudisa kumarket square. And I do. Zvikanzi uku malifts ari kunetsa ezvinezvi. Whereas uku mazupko akawanda. Ende kopi kubudiriro. And time yamuchakambobva panapa kunobata bus stop. Munozongofamba mamutown. So we went kubudiriro. Tikatosvika pato nemalifts zveshuwa. And muroro wangu achibva nti tete hamuna mask kai. Muri kuenda kupi mutown? Muroro sungwere mutown musina chi? Musina mask. Ndoyenge iri nguva yemabhondi. Kumhiri kweroad kune munhu aitengesa mamask. So I beckoned him kuti chi ndikuda mask. Saka anga akasungirwa pamuti. Achibva atosumuka asunungura mask kuti acrosse naye auye naye. Saka papa ine zupko nemamwe makombi akamira. Mvati let me get muchi musupko. Saka ndakafunga kuti rega ndiende isati yazara. Ndichibva munhu yada kuya nemask. Ndichibva ndatora mari mbva ndapa Tawana kuti azobhadhira munhu parese ondigira mask mukombi mandaenda. Saka ndakangotambidza, I didn't tell you anything. Ndakangomutambidza mari. And I went mukombi. Pandatogara. Saka ndichitogara zvazvo kuti rega ndigarisike zvakanaka. Kunzwa vanhu vari mukombi kuti munatsikoyo. Growing up kunjanji kwaigara kwakatsikwa vanhu. And ndiri mudiki I would go see. Kanzi patsikwa munhu ndaimhanya ndonoona. And then to me I was like, but as I grew up I was saying no, handidi kuona zvituna. So pakanzi munhu atsikwa, I actually looked who said ndikati zvekuona munhu atsikwa, it will stay with you. Ndikutarisa kuside muroro wangu ari kuuya ari kunditi tete Tawana atsikwa. This is the only daughter asiwa my late sister. And this is the daughter wari kuti for my sister ndichaitira zvese I couldn't do for my sister. And people are running away. When I got there, Tawana ari mutram vanhu vatiza. So ndakanosvikomupindura. And she said mama. And I said, oh, mupenyu. Saka munhu angamutsika ive mukadzi. Tamubatana vatamisa motikari. And along the way, I remembered someone achiti, kana munhu akuvara, don't let them close their eyes. Saka aita akada kuvhara madziso ndomuti Tawana muka. And nhasi wanyorei? Mazuva vainyora ma-exams. It was in November. Wanyorei? Ndanyora geography mama. Yakairi say joke mangwana muri kunyorei. So I talked to her the whole way. And in between I would pray. And to me, tukwenda kwa hospital, things are going to be okay. Samurorongo akabva adzokera kumba kunoudza vanhu kuti Tawana atsikwa. And then vakabva haya motikari vovatera. We got matakapinda mairapirwa. And the nurses, they are trying to help her. I saw Tawana achiruma simbi in pain. And
we were talking, tawana pari kurwadza, pamwe achiniti ndibate apa mama, batai makumbo ari kurwadza. We were talking and mukadzi amutsika arimo, so akanga akuvara musoro. Saka vai vakati we can't do anything until doctor nyuro asvika. And time yavaiti panosvika nyuro vachiona mwana, my mother came nanyasha, my young sister. So pakatongopinda my young sister, tawana akati mama ndakuenda kumba. And nyasha was like, no, it's okay tawana, mira utasai ungorapwa and we'll go. So ndakava ndasiya tawana aina nyasha and I went kuna mama. And she was like, my Muusha, tawana akuvara pai. No, achukwa gumbo mama, she's fine. Pandakazodzokera ndakasvika nyuro arimo. And when they are cutting her dress, angakatarisa pasi, I saw her breathing her last. And you know, you ask yourselves, there isn't something that is heavier than saying to yourself, if it wasn't for me, maybe ndendakangoenda mutown macho ndisina mask, ndonosungwa nemapurisa acho, it was going to be okay. Why didn't I leave earlier before she came? What could I have done? I couldn't even face my mother. This is pavari kuonera mwana wavo Mevi and she's gone. You know, sometimes in life tinopfudzwa nepakaoma pekuti unoti nhai Mwari.
Yeah.
You ask yourself a lot of questions. There were times that when I started thinking about that, because as when people comfort people, when people come kuzochema nemi, it's a good thing. But people don't stop talking.
Jesus.
And in their conversations, maybe unknowingly they say things that really break you. I remember someone saying, one angasara atorwa, iye she's got 7. You know, if life, mulife uchikwanisa kuti munogarana naMwari muchitaurirana, I think there are a lot of things you'd say, let's do it this way.
Jesus.
You eat yourself up. There are times you look at her photos and say, she was growing beautifully. And this is November. We had just celebrated her birthday. You have just saying that we wish you many more. I had made her cake for her birthday. When you're saying happy birthday, wishing you many more. And this is November and she is gone. And Tawana and my mother, they shared the same month. So you would know that always we make 2 cakes and it's on the same day where we are celebrating my mother's birthday and Tawana's birthday. And so sometimes when I look back and I say these have been the most painful, when I lost my young sister and when I lost my father, but when I lost Tawana, it was as if, have you ever felt like moyo wako uri kudzurwa? There are people who are kurwidzana moyo wako. And you say, oh, on my way to the hospital, you say munamato isina amen. And you are believing that Heavenly Father, she has survived. We have seen a lot of people vanotsikwa. Chinzoona uyu akatsikwa. Uchiona zvironda. Uchiona umwe asisina gumbo. And then, so when I got a job, it was after Tawana was gone. Sometimes you say to yourself, okay, I was saying my sister is gone, I would do it for her daughter. Now she's gone. Sometimes we go through pain that you can't even put in words.
That's true.
I have had my situations yekuti mwana anorwara and you are in hospital. Like there was a time that my daughter akarwara asingamove asingaite anything. I remember ndiri kuarira hospital, I was the one aitumwa muward kuenda kunotengera vanhu zvinhu panze because my daughter aisamuva. The only thing chaaita kubwaira mukaka aitadza kana kunwa, saka waisa musyringe woita wokuti kuti upinde. Heavenly Father, I saw a miracle. Now she's there. At that time I prayed for a miracle,
But it didn't come.
it didn't. It didn't. It's one of the episodes that when I look at, you ask God, or you are tempted to ask God, why?
But as you've gone through these situations and as you've labeled it, Kuti, this was one of your most painful experiences, what advice would you give to people out there when they are dealing with people that are in loss? We, as a company, we deal with a lot of people that are going through a lot, because as you've seen, most of our videos are based on very unfortunate incidents, unfortunately. But pandufu ipapo panoitika zvakawanda. Pane vamwe vanenge vachitonwa doro vari kuseri vachitoseka, and mukati mune vari kutochema. What advice would you give to people vari kuuya parufu pane vanhu vari kuchema?
If you don't know what to say, just shut up. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
If you don't know what to say, nyarara. If you don't know what to say, nyarara. You are in loss, and then someone comes and say, it's okay, we're not zvitirwani. To me, that's one of the worst things that someone can say. You may have lost someone, because one thing I believe, one thing I know is we have lost dear ones, all of us.
Yes.
It's never the same.
It's never the same.
It's not. You have gone through it. It's okay, you have gone through it.
Your own way.
Yes, but it's never the same. It's never the same.
So tell me, in relation to that, like what I've just mentioned, kuti basa redu to toshana na anakonda vanenge vachichema, and how do you handle it? I want to know about the way you healed from this experience and how some of these situations relate to you and how you deal with it, because you for one have also lost someone very beloved to you. So how do you handle it and how do you go through your day-to-day job?
One of the most difficult cases I dealt with was, we went to a place where a child had been beheaded. The mother had just gone there. When we got there, we didn't want to interview the mother. In most cases, when I go and do these cases, you actually ask for a spokesperson, but then you have the mother saying, I want to talk. So the mother said, I want to talk, and it's one of the worst cases I dealt with. I went home, and for some days it stayed with me. Kutimai had gone out. Wodzoka, her boyfriend, auraya mwana.
Isikufana kuruburawi. Ichinzwa kunzi vana vari tasa. Ndakangofonelwa kunzi vana vari tasa andili namano.
Tonzwa kurwadziwa kubatikana nemwana uyo aenda uyo. Ndikurwadziwa zvokurwadziwa zvinji. Zvinonakidza here zvakadai so. Mwana ari kuchikora kutarisira upenyu hwake. Pamwe akataura muchikoro kuti when I grow up I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a policeman. I want to be what? Munhu uyo muchekade banga kudai. Munonzwa zvichiita sei? Munonzwa zvichirwadza sei? Kachingidzira ropa maoko kudai ratozara maoko. Chii yandine zvinonzi baba chikomba chamai yangu chiri kundicheka nebanga.
Baba wacho wakashaya. Ende ndonzira vakaenda nayo yoyo. Ndo semu yangu enda nemwana wacho.
Umwe wacho akachekwa ararama hake, but he's got a scar for life. You go, we deal with a lot of vanhu, especially my cases atinokava ndemurder, ndesudden death yangoitikapo. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
A lot of people ask me, how do you deal with this? Yeah, we are just talking, but still there are times I carry the pain of the people I have been talking to. There are sometimes scenes that replay in my mind after work. It's not easy. But one thing that has always sustained me is prayer. Say, Heavenly Father, it's not easy. And I always pray for people who have lost their loved ones. I tell you, when someone is not feeling well, that time you are given, it may be a day or some hours.
Yes.
Consciously, you are kind of prepared for the worst.
Yes.
Like you're saying, maybe they will survive or they will
They
die.
won't.
But sudden death, accident, kuuraiwa, kuita ningirikini, it's people who go through that, they need counseling. I know Vanuatema, we don't believe in counseling, but people need counseling.
I would say it's the same for the people that do the work as well, because, for example, police officers, they do the same job just as much as journalists. And like, for example, you've mentioned that you also have your own past trauma, right? And as you go through it every day, if you haven't resolved your past traumas, that can cause triggers.
My producer once said, "My Muusha, you get emotional sometimes. They have to do a lot of editing where they remove me and I'm crying."
Yeah.
I know a lot of my viewers, they don't see me crying.
Yeah.
That's the work of the editors.
Yeah.
I shed tears with those people.
Yeah.
Because I know how it feels when you suddenly lose someone.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing.
It's not.
It's not.
By the way, the editing team is a very wonderful team. They really do a lot of editing behind the scenes, because yes,
There was a time that the cameraman actually stopped and said, "My Muusha, calm down."
Yes.
Or they would actually hand
It
me
was
a
very
tissue.
heated in the studio that day.
And then they hand me a tissue and said,
Remember,
"Okay, are you calm now?"
you remember Mayona's incident? She was crying, she couldn't stop. And sometimes you can't help it but just to feel how she's feeling, you know, because you sit with them. She's looking for a child, you can't find the child. You just sit with them and they're coming to you and they're telling you they're paying. Check another issue, the guy from Airport, right? We know that right now he has gotten help, right? I am saying this to give you also an appreciation and comfort for the work that you're doing, because you're doing such a great job, right? He came to you, and you know, whenever you'd, the first time he was right? And then the next time
Pisani acid.
and you'd always call my Muusha, and you know, sometimes you look at yourself and you're like, okay, this person is coming to me for answers and solution, but I'm just a journalist, you know, and sometimes I can only do as much. But right now he has a place to stay. His case has been solved. Those guys were given 10 years, you know. And now as I look at it, I'm seeing that you might not have found meaning within some of the things, but then God makes us go through certain circumstances for them to build us, to build our character, to just show us that at the end of the day we are human, but we will eventually make it.
I never thought that journalism will make me cry. When you see people appearing on TV, it's all smiles. It's
Yes.
what they go through behind the scenes.
Very much
It's
so.
something else. Like the program Twice a Mother.
Yeah.
It's one of the programs that gives me sleepless nights.
Yeah.
You go to places where you see a mother is struggling to just put food on the table. You go there, you see an old woman struggling, but ane mwana anopfeka madiapers, vari kuashaya, vari kuisa ma-t-shirts. You go kumwe kwekuti unosvika mwana wacho. Pane imwe kesi yekuti ndakasvika mwana anozviruma achitobuda ropa, and there is a mother who goes through this every day. And then the other case where the mother is now bedridden, but the child still needs care. And you don't have much in your pockets to help them. The only thing you can do is to come and appeal to people who are seeing the program to help. And then sometimes, like just this morning, I got 3 texts from mothers from Twice a Mother. The other one is saying, andina kana chekupa mwana nhasi, andina kana pekutangira, ndakarwara, mari yese anotengesa huku macutlets, mari yese yandakanga ndatengesa ndakashandisa, nhasi handitorina chekupa mwana. And mai Muusha pay yavo vakatoishandisa ikapera. Vanhu vanobatsira vanhu vanenge vaona that program. And the other one is calling me, andina kana mapiritsi, and kana ndisina mapiritsi iyayo, mapiritsi emwana things are. So that program really gives me sleepless nights.
It does.
I'm grateful because we have had, I remember saying to my producer, I think we need to revisit some people who have got help.
Yeah,
For people to know that we don't just go after stories. There are people who get help.
They do.
I'm really grateful to Zimbabweans, especially those in the diaspora. We have gone there. I have heard someone saying, you know what we see here, and we know namo iri kumba. That's why I am helping, not because ndine mari yakawanda. So pane vamwe kuti tichingobva kuita program vakaonekwa nhasi dzimwe ngorozonzwa kunzi ndakapiwa something, ndakatengerwa grocery. There was actually this other lady, and most of them vamwe vanoti be it anonymous. Pane umwe akambotitengera grocery nekuti taiti pese patikuenda kuita Twice a Mother tinopika mugrocery rawo, wapika mafuta, wapika sugar, wapika this, taisvika tiine something chekupa. But iye zvino izvi we are actually appealing to the corporate world kuti please help. We have been appealing for diaper bank because it's not easy kuti mvura inoshayikwa matinogara. Because pamwe pacho in most cases paita urema, paita urombo, nekuti ana baba vacho vari kubva vasiya vana ava nana amai. Mai vari kutarisa mwana the whole time, havachakwanisa kunoshanda. Saka urema neurombo zvazvasangana. Mwana aikwanisa kunge achito improve, haimprove, haasi kuwana physio, haasi kuwana chikafu chakakwana.
Mweya yangatonekwa shoka.
Takasvika paine umweya anga akapfekedzwa plastic. Vamupfekedza dendi kwakumisa plastic. Plastic riri kumubika. Plastic richamusiya aine rush. Saka like I'm saying, good, I never thought journalism will make you cry.
And but I think one of the worst cases that we've also had where was a very young boy. I see, because of the condition.
You know, Pambato Chishika, you're saying, why would they do this? What the stories now? You say, okay, how can they be helped? So it's one of the things that I appeal to those who can help. And all that. Saka, yeah, Twice a Mother is one of the things that really, really touches me and gives me sleepless nights. But I know, like I'm saying, I'm grateful for those who stretch their hands to help. And
maybe just while we are at it, maybe just give us your dream for Twice a Mother. I know you're very much, your heart is in Twice a Mother. I know that for a fact. For these mothers. I know you even go out of your way kuti you give them something, right? What's your dream for these ladies?
One of my biggest dreams is to have my Muusha Foundation, where I can source help for these mothers, where I dream of a time I say to them, come every month and get diapers. When they can come every month and get food for the children, when they can get clothing. Unosvika pano vamwe vanogwesha ukuthi meso munenge muri utoona mwana anoita zvironda nekugwesha. We know that there are people who are out there vatori nehembe kazoita kuti tinoisa kupi. So we are hoping that they can call and say, okay, we have this. Or
you know, maybe people, they want something gene structure. That's why I'm saying I'm dreaming of having my Muusha Foundation, where when I get a call kunzi andina kana mshonga, you know, kuti trukwenda ku pharmacy kunotengera mama mshonga, trukwenda ku pharmacy kunotengera mwana ari kurwara mshonga. I also dream of a place inopiwa na maya. We know we've got land in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Maybe just my hectares mashoma turned into my plots. Ekuti ana mai vavaka vanenge vaine vana vavo vakaremara, vachishanda vainavo vachivaona, because these mothers can't go out to work. They are given a place to stay, a place where they are going through the same situations. Ekuti vanokwanisa kunge vaine center ekuti maphysiotherapists, they are going to come kuzobatsira vana vedu in one place, or they are in the same place. They say, you have not been sleeping, because most of those mothers don't sleep. You have not been sleeping because we are on one place. Let's bring vana pa place imwe chete. We get vashoma vanosara vainavo, vamwe vacho ana mai chimboende mundorara.
Poza vandachona vakaneta, vanenge vane fatigue, avarari. Sanduya aitaura kuti ini handitorari because mwana anenge achichema manheru.
Atakochema na 9
kusvika makuseni.
onyarara na 6.
Masikati achona atomuka aruda kuchengetwa futi.
So yes, this is an appeal to the corporate world. This is an appeal to the government. This is an appeal to anyone who can help. Twice a mother deals nana mai vekuti ivo vakutenge vane urema, nekuti mwana wavari kuchengeta vamwe vanonida help 24/7. We've got umwe akati I don't mukuti town yachinja ndine 13 years, I don't even know.
Kupinda mtown anditoizivi. So there you have it, viewers, to those that can help my Muusha and make a dream come true, because today is her birthday. So celebrating a day, if you really want to surprise her, come on and help her and make a dream come true. Her dream is to have my Muusha's Foundation, a place as well that can help these mothers that have vanavane urema. So you can come through on the numbers showing on our screen if you really want to give her a birthday present. Now, my Muusha, I just want for parting words, I want you to make a comment on several things that I'm going to ask you about. I promise it won't be more than 5. And I'm going to start with the production team. How is it working with the production team?
I hated those guys. I told you that when I was employed here, ndakanzi nini kutashe ma concerts.
Yes.
So excitement yekuti pano wana zvaje TV. Umwe musi ndakajambira mota yavo. Fanati ndoda kuendawo. Fataenda. Tasvika kuya. My producer hands me microphone. So ini ndikutaura and I'm just ndikutaura ndwabvunza ndiri kunoko. And then you know, Tasha, there were my days andakambopinda mukumbeze neboots. Comment section mawan.
Comment section will kill you. It will kill you. It will murder you.
Comment section mawan. So these guys, they threw me in the deep end.
They do that always.
They threw me in the deep end. You know, they just did that.
Yeah.
No preparation, nothing.
Yeah.
In the comment section, I wanda kaunduru.
Yeah.
Saka, and I said, saka maze kutaka andakuiverenga. Taenda kunoita imwe. Ndagunduru, and I said, guys, this is not my thing. Ini ndakanzi basa rangu ndiri mu office. Ndichitsvaga ma concepts, ndichifunga ma concepts. I'm not going. And they're saying, no, my Muusha, you can do it. These people. You can do it. I know the other one is married. The other one who is not married, it's going to be easier for him to get married because he's a sweet talker. So with time, maybe she are doing great.
Very sweet
talker. And
talker.
I saw a shift even in the viewers.
Yeah. And
then in the comments. But one thing I know, ndakaundurwa, but it also improved me.
It did.
Because I know I would read every comment.
You do.
And then
She
does. One word. Next time I'll try to
Not
avoid
to
that
do it,
word.
yeah.
So And there are also people with constructive
criticism.
You see, they would say, no, she's just starting. And then people, the other maybe mistakes that people do is compare people. You can't compare me with my Samba.
Never.
You can't compare Tilda with my Samba.
Exactly.
You can't compare me and Tilda.
You can't.
Because there's only one Tilda.
Exactly.
She has her way. She is Tilda. I am. So sometimes with people, she's better than this one. She's better than, no one is better than the other one.
The space is huge and we can all take space. That's so true.
You know the good thing about Heavenly Father is my husband actually even says it. He says, Heavenly Father has a sense of humor.
Very much.
He created the elephant and an ant and then a mosquito. The same person. You like green, I like blue, the other likes red.
That's true.
You can't say the person who likes red is wrong.
Exactly.
So the same thing. I like Tilda's style. There's someone who prefers my Muusha style. There's someone who I tell you, when I started, those were the two ladies I looked up to, Mighty Samba and Tilda. With Mighty Samba, it was like, they were actually my days when I would crack my head to say, how would Mighty Samba say this word in Shona?
Yeah.
And then one of my producers, he loves Shona, he's always saying, did you go away? Do you know my Mush? And then sometimes
and you know what he does? He then looks for it. He's like, nah, I would not talk
that's what sure. So, and there were times you'd say, okay, yeah, because like with Tilda, I started watching Tilda in grade 2-3. So like he was
She's been in the industry for a very long time.
So she's like one person I look up to. Mighty Samba, you're like, if I get to her shoes. So never compare people. It's just like, if we get every team, Rebora, Ronaldo, I think that would be the worst thing we can ever have.
Yeah.
He's the
Very
lord
chaotic.
of diversity.
Yeah.
So the same thing even in the industry. We have preferences, Zinosiana.
Different personalities as
You
well.
see?
Yeah.
So comparing, I think it's out.
It's out, yeah.
And I have heard like sometimes one of the things that breaks my heart is when the comment says, she's only after my views, but I tell you guys, we do look for help for people who come here.
Yeah.
And I tell you, like you're saying, when I got a call saying, my Muusha, I got help. Or when someone helps one from Twice a Mother and she gives me a call to say, ndanzindiuya mutown kuzotora chikafu chemwana pana nditumira money pads mwana wangu uya. It makes my day.
I think in due time tichaita a segment yatichangoya nema-testimonials kuti vanenge vabetserwa ndevapi.
You remember the other time when this whole place was full of clothes. And then calling these mothers to say, come get this. Because we are looking at you, Tasha. In your wardrobe, you've got that dress. You're only 2 years or
yes, of course, yes.
Chances are you're going to wait again. Pane pekuti ngochiti ndichaonda ndichaipfeka hembe. Chances are automboondi. Saka
nekuenda kwemabhero, you keep on buying more things, but then there's someone asiri kutokwanisa kana kutenga zvinhu zvozvo. Yeah.
Tasha, pane another case yatakaita yekuti mai vakangopinda takaenda kunoshuta Twice a Mother kuchinaya. Vangopinda munda ovha vachikora mowa.
Yeah.
Ovha wabhoilisa. Ovha wakanyasadza mwana achibva adya. That's that ari kunzi ane kwashi. I have seen worse cases when it comes to Twice a Mother. Kwaseke kwatakaenda kwekuti a mother vari one room, vari 9. Nemwana wekuti dzimwe nguva ladies of the night vanombomutora because he's not mentally okay. You don't know kuti anoprotectika sei. So my job have exposed me to some worse cases, but it has also exposed me to some times when I have smile on my face. Like when I do some interviews and people say things that makes you laugh. Yeah, you go home and say, oh, that's what.
And then the second comment that I want you to make is, how is it being a mother of 7 kids? Vana 7.
Pane boys. it's not easy. I remember someone saying handshake ya mai Muusha unenge wabatana musoja. They have toughened me. But I have a very supportive husband.
Yes.
I have a very supportive husband. I know sometimes if he's home earlier, you go home and kune order. And also, vamwe vacho vakura, reasoning capacity, yeah, okay.
We've been having a very great time in the studio just for you to get to know her, who she is, where she came from, and how she came to be who she is. And then lastly, in your words, my Muusha, mashoko amungada kutaura tisati tapendera chirongwa.
It's so funny because unenge wataura kwezoko wazonzi mashoko
anova kuzvionaga
kuita ngongo singataure. One thing I know is where there's a will, there's a way.
Amen.
You can live your dream. Heavenly Father answers my prayers. He has answered my prayers in different ways. But the most important thing I want to say is I want to thank the Destiny TV family. You have embraced me to some extent that is beyond words. Thank you, and thank you to everyone who is stretching their hands to help the mothers we bring but twice a mother. We are still going to go mbele ku Destiny TV. And thank you for giving me this time kuti nasi ndimbobvunzwa umbvunzo. Ndirini ndiri kupindura. Thank you so much, Tasha.
You're welcome. And there you have it, viewers. Nasi mu studio tangatina mai Muusha, well known as Stella Muusha. You know her for presenting pamashows akawanda pano pa Destiny TV. That includes Twice a Mother, My Hustle, and My Story andakatogarawo panapa nasi. And we just want to thank her for the great and amazing job that she's doing, and we want to continue to wish her so many more years to come. And just remember, you can help us to support these mothers that she was talking about for Twice a Mother by contacting us on the numbers that are showing on your screen. You can donate clothes, food items, or anything chaunengo wangonzwa kuda kudonata. And also remember, you have a story. You can come through and share your story with us. Destiny TV also has a platform for you to advertise, including the Facebook platform, the YouTube platform, which you'll be advertising on The Village. That is our primetime show that actually has a lot of viewers. So get in contact with us and we can help you. See you next time.